Hey guys, Brad from Road Heat back at it with another rookie breakdown. Today we're going to be talking about Texas wide receiver Devin Duvernay. And don't forget, if you like what we've been doing over here at rotoheat.com, hit the like and subscribe notification on YouTube here so that you can keep up to date with everything that we've been pumping out, as we've got plenty more rookie content to come. Duvernay stands 5'11", 210 pounds. In college, he had 176 catches for 2,468 yards and 16 touchdowns. That comes out to about a 14.0 yards per catch rate. For athletic ability, we gave him a score of a 7.1 out of 10. He has a really great speed when he gets up to full speed, as we've seen, because he's a track star and some of these other things that he's done in his career. He's got a lot of speed once he gets up to the top level. The issue that we have is that there were times where he would get jammed, and it takes him a little time to get up to speed. We didn't see a lot of stop and go where he really was getting off guys and getting up to high speed quickly. So we really like the athletic profile, but there are some big concerns about it as well. Toughness, we gave him a 7.3 out of 10. In my mind, he's a kind of a Steve Smith light when it comes to toughness. If you remember Panthers and Ravens, Hall of Fame receiver Steve Smith, the dude is uber feisty. He was not, it didn't matter how big you were, he was coming at you. And we see that with Duvernay. This kid blocks really well. He's not afraid of contact, and you can see it in the frame. He's 5'11", 210. A lot of times when I was watching, I was like, dude looks like a running back. I mean, he's just a strong bodied player. And that's really good. I mean, teams want guys who've got that edge and who are willing to, to, no matter how big or small they are, be willing to just get that nasty side going and use that toughness to help block or fight for extra yards or any of that. For hands, this was the part of his game that we love the most. We gave him a 7.5 out of 10. Ryan says he typically catches the ball with his hands away from his body, plucking the ball out of the air with ease. We see that pretty regularly when we're watching footage of him. He does a great job. Very similar to some of the other receivers that we've profiled here recently. Hands seems to be an area where a lot of these guys in the 2020 class, you can tell they've been working with the Chugs machine and they've been doing a good job developing this area. For Duvernay, this is going to be one of the things that jumps off for the scouts as they're evaluating him throughout this draft process. To go along with something we mentioned earlier with the toughness, with Yak, we gave him a 7.3 out of 10. He uses physicality to get extra yards and to fight for more than what he was given. And we're really excited about this part of his game. He does a pretty good job with it. That we have concerns about him being able to get up to top speeds and do some of these things, but we know that he's going to fight for every bit of the yards he can get. We see a lot of a slot receiver. What he's done in a college game as a slot receiver, we see that translating really well with his physicality, with his athletic profile, with his willingness to get extra yards after contact. I mean, they all build this really nice profile of what could become a decent slot receiver in the NFL. With route running, we gave him the lowest score of all of the things we rated him. We gave him a 5.3 out of 10. This is an area we're really concerned about. We saw him do a lot of slants and fly patterns, but we didn't see a lot more than that. I mean, there's so much of that on his tape that we have a concern that it's a very underdeveloped route tree. This really gives us the vibe that he could be kind of a late round project player that hopefully in time will develop into a starting quality slot receiver. As a guy that could wind up becoming, taxi or practice squad or taxi squad in your fantasy leagues. As a guy who you need to sit on and let him develop and grow in some of these areas like his route tree and being able to get off jams at the line of scrimmage and things like that. So it's definitely a red flag, but it's definitely an area that he can develop very quickly if he's working at it. Overall, we gave him a 6.9 out of 10. Not amazing, definitely above average, but he's one of those guys that we see needing to take time to develop the pro game. not only develop in the NFL, but it's going to take time for him to become fantasy relevant for your fantasy team. A lot of us saw him as a guy that you either loved him or you hated him. There were guys that evaluated him on the Roto Heat team that basically said, "Nah, backup receiver, nothing that's going to help your fantasy rosters." We also saw others that could see him develop into a nice slot receiver. We're seeing nowadays in fantasy as well as NFL, slot receivers are very handy. They have a lot of value. Guys that can move all over the package, not only from the slot to the outside, like a guy like Duvernay can do, bring value, but it's one of those kind of buyer beware. It may be a player, if you're drafting early before the NFL drafts, he's a guy you're drafting later kind of as a stash, just in on your taxi squad. There's some bright spots to his game. There's a lot of bright spots to his game, but there's a lot of red flags as well. So just be careful when you're evaluating him and when you decide to put a chip on him and take him on your fantasy squads, as he's a guy that's probably going to need a little time to develop at the pro level.
Don't forget, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any more fantasy football content from the rotoheat.com team. Also, right there, playlist. Hit it. Watch the videos. Do it. You want to. Do it.